Well, with the pandemic, we could all use a few laughs. Yuk Yuk's has pivoted by providing professional cyber comedy shows to businesses across Canada. Mark Breslin, the founder and CEO of Yuk Yuk's International, joins us with details on how business can win a half-hour show. Thanks for joining us on our show via Zoom.
Thanks for having me. This is very, very 2021.
It is. It's our new normal, I guess. Boy, every business is having a tough time in the pandemic, but the funny business has to be tough. How are you pivoting with the clubs?
Well, it's been difficult because, the clubs have been barely open. It's tough on comics, it's tough on club owners like me, and it's tough on audiences who would like to get a laugh. And I think this is a real challenge now because, let's face it, we're all right on the edge of mental health. It's really difficult for any company that wants to try to, raise consciousness. Very difficult for any company that wants to do team building. When you can't get your whole staff together because they're all in their houses, how do you give them a real boost up? And I think the answer is you give them a comedy show. And comedy brings people together, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's all people sitting in a room together, it always brings people together. So what we've done is we've taken one of these shows that we do and we're offering it as a contest to any company that would like to enter. And on March 1st, we'll make a draw for whatever company wins. And then on March 17th, your company will get a free Zoom show with Yuk Yuk's Comics.
And this will happen in the afternoon, well, based on time zones across the country.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we could
and to enter, all they have to do is go to contest@yukyuks.com or go to any of our social media outlets, and they'll be able to enter that way too.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up. We're at a point now. It is a mental health thing, and actually, this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, yeah, it's important that we tap into this.
Well, I found myself muttering the other day. And I knew that I'm on the edge now. So everybody's kind of on the edge. And we have to find a way of taking care of that edge. Laughter has always been a great way of giving people a sense of community and a sense of release.
Yeah, it's more than just a cliche, the best medicine. It really is. So with the pandemic and the clubs themselves, and of course, now we're in the various zones. At one point, we'll be reopening. But it has been tough, hasn't it, where they have been allowed to operate because your roster is nationwide, but we have these regional bubbles, so it's hard to move comics around.
Yeah, it's impossible for us to do that anymore. And also because even when we're open, we're given directives from the government that we can only put so many people in our clubs. So maybe if we have a club that holds 300 people, we can only put 50 people in. So it's economically impossible for us to fly people back and forth on top of all the other problems.
Yeah. Now, with the corporate comedy, you actually tailor the roster as well, depending on the business.
Well, certainly not everybody is right to talk to a corporation. There are certain sensitivities. Let's just call them sensitivities that you have to be aware of. But we've culled our roster into a certain group of people that we know can do this job really well. We have references, and it's not something we haven't done before. Even before the pandemic, we were doing some cyber comedy, but now the cyber comedy has become a major, major, major part of what we do. But we would never send anybody out to entertain people from a corporation or from a group or for a government agency that wasn't appropriate for that.
Yeah. What kind of testimonials do you get from businesses?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We had a great time. We wish it could have even lasted longer. But our people have to get back to work.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to you getting busier again once we get through this pandemic as well. It's been such a great history with Yuk Yuk's. You have launched, your company that you founded, you have launched a who's who in comedy. Who of all the comics that have graced a Yuk Yuk stage, give me your top three. Your favorites.
My favorites, the late Mike McDonald, has probably been, and most comics will tell you this, the most underrated comic of our age. And unfortunately, he died about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But
he's been on this show,
fantastic.
very sweet man.
And of course, how could I forget Howie Mandel, who has had one of the most interesting careers a comic could possibly have, with all the different things that he's done, and the great Jim Carrey. There are 3 of them. Oh, and I'm going to throw in Russell Peters as a 4th.
Oh yeah, have to add him. But there's been so many more as well. And again, from the stage, the platform that you created for them. Mark Breslin, real pleasure to talk to you. And we'll link up your website and socials at chch.com so more people businesses can take advantage of this cyber comedy in this pandemic.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Always great laugh.
Get your hands dirty.